Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RV Inspection and Care podcast and video. I'm Dwayne. I'm a certified RV inspector, and today we're going to be talking about some of the most common RV salesmen's deceptions and even outright lies that can cost you as an RV buyer lots of money. You know, one of the things that really frustrates me is that many RV buyers listen to their salesperson way more than they really should and take their advice. And the truth is that the salesperson in many RV dealers these days may not know as much about RVs and RVing as you do, because quite often they're just simply salespeople. And unfortunately, a lot of them are willing to tell you almost anything you want to hear in order to make the sale and put money in their pocket by commission. So let's consider a few of the deceptions and even lies that are told by RV salespeople. And the first one we're going to talk about is a common one, happens way too often. And that is that the salesperson may tell you, "Don't worry, you can definitely pull that RV with the vehicle that you have right now." Well, I can tell you for sure that RV towing is not an easy subject. It's involved. And very few salespeople out there know enough about it to be able to make that kind of call just looking at the vehicle that you have. And as a result of that, a lot of RVers, people who have bought RVs, have gotten one that is too big. It's too heavy for the vehicle they have. And they didn't find out until after they had bought the RV. And now they have a decision to make. How do you handle this? On the one hand, they could sell the RV, but of course that means that they're probably going to take a loss on it. On the other hand, they could change the tow vehicle, but that's not cheap either. That can be very costly as well. So you see, whichever way you go, it's usually not a good situation. Here's what I recommend. I think it's very good for RV buyers to do their research on towing before they get to the dealer, before they start looking for RVs. Know what your vehicle can and cannot tow safely, and then you'll be ahead of the game. Now, I made a couple of videos on this subject in the past, and I'll leave links to them in the description of both the video and the podcast. I highly recommend that you go through those videos. It'll teach you how to match up a tow vehicle and an RV. Now, let's move on to our second deception that we're going to talk about today, and that is that the salesperson may tell you, "We can finance this RV for a lower rate than anybody else. We've got the best deal on loans." Well, you know what? That may be true in some cases, but it's also true that in many cases, you can do better elsewhere. Here's what I recommend. I think it's a good idea for buyers to have their financing already lined up in advance, especially if you've been doing business with a bank or a credit union that knows you really well. And if you have good credit, well, you can probably get a very good loan on your own rather than what the dealer offers you. You see, the finance office in an RV dealership is very often one of the biggest profit centers for the entire dealership. So don't just automatically assume that they're going to give you a good deal. And by having your loan already set up in advance, you have flexibility. If they have the better deal, you can go with that. But if they don't, you have something already lined up, and that's good. Now let's move on to the next deception. And this is very common these days because in the past couple of years, RV sales have kind of tanked and gone downhill since the COVID pandemic. And as a result of that, there are a lot of RVs that are sitting on RV dealers' lots, and they're older RVs. So you might hear the salesman say, no, don't even look at these new 2025 models over here. Let me give you a great deal and save you a lot of money on this 2023 RV over here. Well, the thing to understand is that salespeople often are given incentives to steer you toward that older RV because the dealer wants it off of their lot. The problem is that RVs don't do well just sitting out in a field and unprotected. In fact, they very often start to just decay and deteriorate right in place. It's called in the industry lot rot. And if you buy that RV, then you can find yourself with a lot of problems right off the bat, even though it's new. Now, I'm not saying that all of these older RVs are not good to buy. Some of them could be still in decent shape. But what I'm saying is don't just follow the direction that the salesperson gives you. Instead, if you're going to go for that good deal, make sure you get it inspected and know that it is in good shape before you buy it. And don't just take their word for it. All right, that leads us to our final point to discuss in this video. And this is not only a deception, it is an outright lie. And that is, you can hear the salesperson tell you, our pre-delivery inspection is just as good as anything an RV inspector is going to do for you, and it won't cost you any money either. Well, as an RV inspector, let me explain the truth, and RV inspectors know this, that dealers very often do very little to actually inspect any RV that comes on their lot before they sell it. And sometimes dealers do nothing at all. And I can pretty much guarantee you that dealers are not going to do the thorough job that a certified NRVIA inspector would do, because certified inspectors spend hours on RVs from top to bottom to make sure that it's really a thorough report that they give you and really gives you a good opinion on what kind of shape that RV is in. Now, dealers just can't do that with every RV that comes in. It just costs too much money. In fact, the truth of the industry is that they very often send out one of the least paid people in the entire dealership to perform that pre-delivery inspection. It's usually very limited, if any at all, and the person doesn't really have a lot of experience either. Now, there is also something else here. The dealer may take this whole situation to another level. They may actually refuse to allow you to bring in an outside inspector before you buy an RV. They may tell you, listen, our PDI is just as good. You don't need that, and we don't allow it on our lot. If a dealer tells you that, here's my recommendation: find another dealer. What that dealer is signaling to you is they don't really care about you and your buying experience. They don't really have your best interests at heart. So it's better to deal with someone else. Well, now those are 4 of the deceptions and lies that I wanted to talk about in this video. But now let me make this point very clear. Not all RV salespeople lie and deceive you. In fact, there's some very, very good RV salespeople in the industry. They're usually the ones that have been around a while and they have experience. However, there are far too many salespeople right now that will deceive you, and they will, in fact, lie to you. You see, a lot of the RV dealers these days, they have adopted the sales tactics of car dealers. things that people have had an issue with car dealers for years and hate, but it does produce short-term profits for them. So these RV dealers that adopt sales tactics from the car industry, they are not really interested in long-term relationships with their customers and buyers. They're just mainly concerned with short-term profits. And this is very true quite often of the larger national RV chains. So you can lose a lot of money by accepting and following whatever that dealer and salesperson has to say. My recommendation is be prepared instead. Know what you're doing before you get to the lot. And hopefully this video will help you be ready then for some of the most common deceptions and even outright lies that you'll hear at RV dealers. And that's it for now. Have safe and happy travels, my friends. Until next time.